WCS Montreal, day number 3, the final day here of the WCS Circuit, and it's a day of champions as we have 4 players remaining here as we find out who is going to not only be the champion and also be able to take away all the points, all the prize money. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the desk. My name is Kelazhur. To my left-hand side, I am joined by Nathanius and Zombie Grub to start things off for day 3. We have 3 series coming at you today, the semi-finals and the grand final. And Zombie Grub, overall, what a tournament it's been so far with all of these people punching their tickets to BlizzCon.
Yeah, it was actually an interesting start to the tournament where everyone was like, well, how are the seedings going to go? Who's going to get knocked out of WCS? Who's actually going to enter WCS? Ended up being pretty much identical to what it was when it started, just when it came to the seeding. So that was interesting storyline. Didn't quite develop, but we still had some awesome games. Yeah,
we had the 2 members of the 2 big names, I think, of Showtime and Scarlet really trying to rival for those spots. Unfortunately for those guys, though, not able to do it, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up becoming the usual suspects that we've seen all year long that have been performing really well. And the big standouts so far for 2017, well, not so far, I mean, the standouts of 2017, to me, big one is Kelazhur. Played phenomenally great matches. I strongly look forward to seeing him compete at the end of the year, and he just really showed up. Tough match versus Snute last night, but it's really awesome to see that a couple of these players have been able to shift positions with the players that you would normally say are on top. You should have seen Showtime at the end of the year at BlizzCon. You should have seen Scarlet, but other players were able to make that magic happen here.
Yeah, do put in the work and make it happen indeed. Let's take a shout out, of course, to our sponsor who is joining us along the road here for WCS, as it is Acer. So a big thank you to them along this journey together. It's been a phenomenal one as we continue on down the road to BlizzCon here. Now, I've got to explain how WCS works, how everything has been going on here, as well as the circuit in general. As we started things out here in Montreal, like every other stop, with 3 group stages. 80 players entered at the very beginning, and we have whittled that all the way down to just 4. We had 3 more stops before this, I should say, with Neeb and then Kelazhur being our champions, Nathanius, and they were some darn good stops.
Yeah, I mean, the start of the year, I mean, the whole story was Neeb coming off of that Caspa Cup victory last year, and then this year he became the 2-time back-to-back Austin and Jönköping champion. Everyone's like, oh my God, is he going to do it in Valencia as well? And someone's like, okay, well, somebody else finally got one of those spots. Like, yeah, we guarantee spots. Like, well, if he keeps winning, then they just become point-based again, and it's not real. It's just, that's it. Just a scramble for points, you know? The race to second.
Neeb broke the system, basically, is what you're saying.
He's too good at the game.
Yeah, and now we're in a situation, Zombie Grub, where Neeb could potentially quite easily win a 3rd WCS title here.
Yeah, I think he's actually, like, going to do it. Like, I think he's going to break the system even more, okay? Like, I think he's got a really good chance against True. PvZ is a good matchup for him, and that's all that's left.
Right. Of course, we had our round of 16 and our round of 8 yesterday, and it was a darn good day of StarCraft with some 3-0s here and there, but some 3-1s and some 3-2s along the way as well. Just in case you missed day number 2, don't worry, because once again, we have you covered.
Ladies and gents, scream for Neeb and Scarlet!
The crowd here is much bigger than I expected. Like, everyone's super hyped, and there's so many people. It's a really nice feeling.
Hop, skipping, and jumping with that War Prism. Need to keep in mind when the shields are out, so is the Prism. Great micro overall.
Scarlet, when she's playing well, is a very tough opponent. Like, she's maybe one of the best in the whole WCS circuit. But I know she hasn't been playing too much recently, just StarCraft 2 in general.
Neeb is mowing through the defenses of Scarlet.
I was confident going up against her.
Big ball of lings is going to make things a little bit tough for Nurture, but Nurture's in a situation where he's just making so many lings, he has to go for it. Oh! That's a huge connection for the True. Big blunder from Nurture.
Nurture is very good. He likes Roach a lot. So I played the Roach one time, so I lost. And then, yeah, I played the Ring Bane, Mutar.
Base. Now Nurture just out of minerals.
Oh, massive hit there. And Nurture is starting to lose steam.
Yeah, he's very good at PvZ and CBT. I think I'm a little bit better.
So another Zerg versus Zerg to follow things up. Kelazhur gonna go up against Cyril here as we find out who moves on to the round of 4.
Well, I think Cyril, for me, he's one of my biggest rivals right now. I always look up to Cyril as the guy that I want to beat the most.
He's ready to move. He's got the +2 attack. The Carapace is about to finish. Cyril's gonna put his roaches right on top of a laser. but is it gonna be enough?
Well, I think Sarah played very good. Well, I'm just very happy that I managed to beat him.
Spines are dying left and right. He hits drones, queens, and spines with that bile, and Kelazhur does it. He crashes through the defenses of Cyril.
Will it be the Norwegian advancing or will it be the Brazilian? Give it up for Snute and Kelazhur!
The last time I played against Kelazhur in Valencia, I think it felt a lot easier than this time around. I think he stepped up his game tremendously from Valencia.
The Planters like, don't bring them here. That's the worst. And now the Ultras are going to start chomping on the soft underbelly of Kelazhur. A 60 supply advantage. Okay, Snute.
The games against Kelazhur were very long, very drawn out. It's just how I play my CVT. It's very exhausting, but it works in practice and it works here.
The reinforcements should be enough for Snute to just end this one. The Corruptors are coming in. They're going to try and put the death knell onto Kelazhur here. He fought very bravely and very well, but Snute is too damn good.
Neeb, True, and Laser and Snute make up the round of 4 here for WCS Montreal. And again, as I've mentioned before, basically a 4-man of champions here going into the WCS Montreal. So guys, looking at how things are going to go, we can take a look at the bracket and see where they've come from as well whilst we continue things down the line. Who's really stood out for you? I mean, for a lot of people, they see Neeb as the guy to be going all the way. But what about the other members of our round of 4?
I think Kelazhur gets another honorable mention as the Terran that made it very far in this tournament. The story this year has been the very strong European Protosses underperforming. We haven't seen the big rockstar performances from Showtime. He's not going to be making it.
Yeah.
The Zergs have been doing as well as we expect, but the Terran players that have been doing well, at least for me, it's shaken up a bit. You know, you start the year thinking it should have been like special, euthermal, and it's not quite the way that it ended up.
No, indeed.
Yeah, the top 4 is interesting. I think the most interesting story, though, is True. You have Neeb, Snute, and Kelazhur, who are champions, like literal champions. And then True, really like kind of the champion of Montreal specifically. And it seems to be where he gets a superpower. As far as like South Koreans going to North America goes, I don't know if True really ever had that like, oh, he's like too good, unless he's in Montreal. And now he's like really good.
He could become a 2-time back-to-back WCS Montreal champion.
That was well worded. I liked that very much. There you go. Of course, that will be our match that is coming up here in just a few moments' time. Neeb going up against True here to find out who moves on to the grand final. So regardless of who makes it to the grand final, it's actually a fantastic situation. You've got the opportunity for Neeb to rival for that 3-time WCS championship, or as you mentioned, the 2-time Montreal champion in True. But for True, it is quite the hurdle going up against someone like Neeb, who's shown so much strength, Zombie Grub.
Yeah, I mean, I'm speaking about Montreal. It gives superpowers to people. It gave a bit of a superpower to Scarlet for a second, and then she hit Neeb, and you just like took it away. Like, nope, you don't get that. So I think the same thing's gonna happen in True.
Yeah, I love Neeb. I love seeing him come in here. The cool thing about this situation is that because all of these players are all the players that have performed very well this year, and they've already got their sights on a BlizzCon, it's a scenario where it's like, okay, we're not playing for the long game here. This is it. It ends here. The Blizz, nothing's on the line other than money and pride. And the way that Neeb played that match versus Scarlet yesterday, you watch it. He's sitting there. He's biting his lip. He looks very angry while he's just destroying Scarlet. And he's the player that's already safe.
Yep.
Whereas Scarlet's the one that's desperately trying to make that epic dream run to get there. And that cold killer expression from Neeb, I expect to see it again as he goes into the series against True.
Well, we can talk about it more at length in just a moment's time as we are almost ready as we start things up. The first semi-final here for day number 3, WCS Montreal. It's Neeb going up against True.
Ravaging this army, beautiful force field. 30 drones have been pillaged by this Protoss party, and the third still 58
drones.
I think I've been in a slump like the past 2 weeks right before this event, so being able to have such a strong performance so far is very motivating for me. I think I can make it to the finals or even win the whole thing.
One queen about to fall, not enough for Atreus. Second queen falls here, and True already in a massively great spot here as no banelings are ready for Nurture. Bam!
I made the semi-final 3 times this year, but I couldn't make it final. So time to make it final.
True's a very weird player. Like, he just has his own style. He just does whatever he thinks is good. So it's quite scary to go up against him.
My goal was just to make a BlizzCon, but now I'm top 4, so now I want to win.
I don't really think of the 3rd semifinals as an achievement. Like, I'd rather the 3rd finals or the 3rd championship, so that's what I'm aiming for.
That feeling when 19-year-old Neeb says he feels like he was in a bit of a slump. Yeah, he's just won 2 WCS championships, and the last one he didn't do too bad at, all things considered, Nathanias.
When you talk about esports careers, everybody's like, oh, you know, you start young, you retire young, and it's like, Neeb's like, I'm going through my 3rd Rocky movie right now. You know, I'm getting ready to get back into the ring and try to get another championship. And I love hearing those confident words out of him, though, because it is so much nicer than hearing him say, guys, I'm really not that good.
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't actually play that well. Please stop telling me I'm good. He's embraced the fact that he is a literal god.
Well, Mal is ready on the stage to get this semi-final rolling. James, day number 3 from James to another James. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing great, Players. Thank you very much for asking. Unfortunately, no more hometown heroes remain in this Canadian circuit. But they fought well, and they fought really hard to their last units behind the incredible support of the home crowd here in Canada. And that is exactly what we Canadians could have asked for, not going down without a fight. Now the Hat Guy returns to invite you all to the day 3, the final day of the 2017 pennant. Welcome to Canada, everyone. Welcome to Montreal. Bienvenue à WCS Montreal. One Protoss stood tall and strong in this Zerg-dominated weekend. Hailing from down and under, Neeb seeks to continue his unprecedented success in the WCS season with 2 championships and a runner-up finish. On the other side, True, last year's WCS Montreal champion, seeks to repeat the same success here today. Now, Clash of the Titans. US versus Korea, Korea versus US, champs and champs. It's the semifinals, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Neeb and True.
That's right, aside from the blip on the road for Neeb in Valencia, he looks to continue to assert dominance in 2017. Look at that cheeky smile as well as he sits down talking about him being really, really good at this video game. No surprises there, Zombie Go. And then, of course, he goes up against True. So it's quite the clash, to say the least.
It is, but Neeb does have a really good record against True. He should feel confident in not only this semifinal, but also the entire tournament. He said so himself that he thinks he's probably going to be able to take it. I think he should add definitely in there, actually, in my opinion. He's just really good. And True's weird style, I don't think it's going to trip him out.
The important thing to mention is that, and Neeb just said in that interview segment that we got to see, which was really well done, really good answers, is that True plays what he thinks is good. He's not going to necessarily stick to the meta.
Yeah.
You have a set of builds that a lot of players across the world are using. Most people will say, oh, I'll just take whatever build Innovation's doing, or whatever build Stats is doing, or build Dark is doing. But no, that's not how True plays the game. He's like, you know, I think on this map, there's this weird thing I can do with Lings, or I can do a drop here, or some other variety of attack. And because of that, if you're Neeb, you can try to see what games True's been playing lately, but you're not going to say, oh yeah, he's just going to play the normal meta. I should expect him to do the same Hydra Bane thing that these guys are doing, or this Ling drop thing that Scarlet did. He has to be more on his toes, and it is possible. We've seen it happen to Neeb before, where you can get put on a little bit of that tilt if he gets caught off guard with one of those early aggressive plays, and that's going to be what I think True needs in this series to knock him off his feet, to knock him off that confident stance coming in here as the 2-time champion, and get a lead early in this match.
The track record's very much so in Neeb's favor as well. If you think back just to North American Challenger, he beat him twice, didn't Neeb? Which has got to put a little bit of fear in True right now.
I would think so. There's one time that True was able to beat him recently, too, in the other qualifier. That happened for the last WCS. So, I mean, if you can think back to how he did that, then I suppose there is that chance. And Nate brings up a good point about just, like, even though we have weird Zergs, Scarlet's a weird Zerg a lot of the times. Yeah. True is even weirder. And Neeb does occasionally get thrown off his own momentum, like his own tempo. I feel like it's not as big of a weakness as it once was, though.
Yeah, there's a couple of fun things that play into this. First of all being that Neeb is an NA player, which means that he has seen every awful, weird strategy that you could possibly have in StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
You know, you get the NA players that, like, used to beat Koreans in online team leagues. Like, yeah, just send in Ruff, because nobody knows how he plays, right? Nobody knows what this build this guy does, and he just beats Koreans, right? Yeah. But Neeb's got that experience. He has that practice. And the other fun thing that I like to think about is when we started talking about Neeb's rise in the foreign StarCraft scene early last year, when he had that rivalry against Hydra. It was like, oh yeah, he beat him in the online qualifiers twice. It was great. And then he lost in the tournament. We're like, well, how much does that mean? But we get to come to this tournament. We're like, yeah, he beat True online. And we know that that actually means something for Neeb because his growth and skill and obviously his performance throughout the last year and a half speak volumes about the success that we can continue to expect out of him. And I think a lot of people go into this match cheering for Neeb, our American hope here in this tournament.
Well, we're about to start answering that question here in just a moment's time as we're ready to head into our semi-final here for day 3 of WCS Montreal, as it's Neeb going up against True to find out who moves on to the grand final.
Good morning, Montreal. I am in control. He's Todd. That's right. Wake it up. Get that poutine out of your system. A little bit of cafe. So we got quite the banger, as my man Maynard would say. I understand that to be a breakfast sausage, but also mean an exciting match. True, a super-powered Montreal Zerg player. He has won the year before. We saw the analysts talk about that. And he's going to need those superpowers, Todd. He's facing Neeb.
Yeah, he's facing his #1 nemesis. In fact, 15-3 in Neeb's favor in encounters, 42-20 in maps. That's a 22 maps difference, which makes Neeb the #1 nemesis for True. In the past, Neeb defeated True twice in the Challenger, made it look easy, didn't drop a single map, and he's just been on absolute fire. So he should be the overwhelming favorite. You should never count True out, though, in this kind of format.
You know, I think you're right, and I like the hauntingly true words of Zombie Grub saying that there is this chance where True throws off the momentum of Neeb and can do some weird stuff or something or another. See, Neeb is having his headset adjusted. Gonna have that fixed. Good old duct tape. Fix anything. True on the other side has a perfectly, his head just contours wonderfully to a headset. So just saying, if there's any sponsors out there looking for a good head to put some headphones on, there's your guy.
What better heads?
There's the audience. You guys came out early. Really appreciate it. Montreal. This will be a good one. True's going to make it fun one way or the other. I mean, Neeb is the juggernaut. Everyone's going to be talking about that. He deserves all the attention that he gets. But True is, he's cracking jokes. He looks calm, and there's been more than 1 or 2 superhero movies that say the scariest person you can face is the one that doesn't fear death, and True does not seem to fear death here.
Well, I mean, he experiences it pretty often,
yeah,
to be honest, in StarCraft games, right?
He walks that razor's edge.
Yeah, stylistically, it's going to be interesting because I ran into Neeb at breakfast and I asked him, so how desperate do you think True is going to be, you know, having kind of crushed him twice in the Challenger? And he was telling me that True has been asking him for a while, I mean, before they met, how to beat the Master Oracles, which is like a funny thing to do. You know, it's like you're going to meet him eventually and have to face them, but it's like one of those things that some players like to do. And Neeb was advising him to go for a Spire, which True so far hasn't done. So to me, like, collecting storylines at breakfast, that's what we do here, if you can wake up early enough for that. Will True go for a Spire to try and counter, the potential Master Oracles of Neeb? And actually, Neeb doesn't need to go into Master Oracles. That's the thing about it.
He didn't do it against Scarlet. He like, kind of started to do it on Acolyte, which is the map that's banned out here. And that's the map that, oh, wonderful production. Jeez Louise. That was at, like, the same time. Well done. But that's the map that Neeb has famously talked about, how Sky Toss on that is probably broken. It's probably too strong. So True intelligently banning it out. And then,
when Catalina came back in the map pool, I was like, yeah, that's on your veto right there. Not a chance.
We have not seen a lot of games on Catalina, to be fair.
Against Terran or Zerg, it's going to be the guaranteed veto as Protoss.
All right, I think we're just about ready to go. They had to get a couple more rolls of duct tape. It should be just strapped right in there to the back of this man's head right here.
Duct tape solves everything, right?
It does. It's been around forever. Do you know why they call it duct tape?
No.
Neither do I. But I imagine it's something pretty cool. Something back there.
I was waiting for the knowledge bombs in control.
I know some stuff, but not everything. Not that one.
All right.
Well, we're underway, guys, so go ahead and start to get pumped because this match is underway. Your first semifinal of the 4th WCS stop in Montreal begins now. And in the top left-hand side on Odyssey, in the blue trunks from America, it's Neeb. And his opponent, coming all the way from Korea, to take that kid's lunch money. It is true.
Neeb used a lot of different builds when he faced True in Challenger. There was Nexus first, I believe, on this map that was used at some point, maybe even a Cannon Rush as well. But it's looking like Nexus first here into a quick gateway into that wall right after, which usually you follow up with a second gateway so that you can get a depth to harass with. And last time that he did that on this map, he went into a Twilight Council, Resonating Glaives, but a Dark Shrine as well.
Yeah.
To be very aggressive and kind of keep True guessing. And that just worked out beautifully. I mean, Neeb mechanically right now, he's just absolutely insane. Like, if you watch him play from his point of view, you're gonna be mesmerized, honestly, at this point, no matter what race you play. And I think that's what makes him so strong as well, is that he's just so consistent with everything.
The cool thing about Neeb, too, is I feel like we're seeing, I mean, it's been for a while now, but I've been appreciating, I guess, more recently, the depth to his strategy, because you just talked about adding the Dark Shrine to the glaive opening. Well, the other thing that he does, too, is he's been going back to the Archon drop followed by, and it's almost, I don't want to give Harstam all the credit, but for a while there, Harstam was the one championing this. But warping in like 6 or 7 charge lots on top of that, one of the most lopsided games against Scarlet was that style, I believe, if I remember correctly. And that's the different looks off of otherwise meta normal openings is very difficult for a Zerg to stay on top of.
It's just super hard. Like, you would have to go for Pneumatized Carapace and send overlords consistently, but then you're not really looking inside of your own base, so you're doing everything else a little bit worse. So it's very hard to find that like right and proper balance, and I think Protoss users have really learned to exploit that quite a bit. We don't have a second gateway, actually, interestingly enough.
Not yet.
He's already playing differently than he did last time when he faced True here on this map.
Sometimes a Robo goes there as well, or even the Stargate as part of the wall-in. So we'll have to see what he does to round that out. I do want to say my estimate for this matchup is you're either in for a really awesome, cool, witty back and forth, can Neeb catch up with the creativeness of True, or and I'm just going to be pretty honest about it could be a lopsided matchup, and I'm not predicting that in favor of True. I would say if Neeb really is hitting on all cylinders and True gets a little bit too fancy, there's a very good chance that this is over in 45 minutes and it's a very one-sided 3-0.
Yeah, and we saw Neeb actually go for a Stargate. It's kind of in a corner of his base right there. It's most likely going to be for Oracles here. We've seen a couple Protoss kind of going to Phoenixes as a surprise. I don't think Neeb's necessarily one of those guys.
There's that second gateway you were talking about, Todd. The other thing here, too, that our observer pointed out that's really important, that's an Evolution Chamber. And that Evolution Chamber, of course, could be for +1 melee, and almost certainly will be, but it also could be for a Ling Flood and, you know, like a big attack on this. And this is something we saw, in my opinion, Scarlet did this as well in her ZVP that I didn't like. She took the fast gold. There's not much that Neeb can do about stopping that right now. Oracles are going to be a bit of a pain, but a couple of Spore Crawlers and you're fine. But then to take that and just make a bunch of Lings feels a little bit like squandering what was otherwise a good opening.
In one of the Challenger that True was successful up against Neeb in, he was using a very different style than most. He was keeping on Banelings entirely and getting a lot of Hydralisks and just kind of going across the map and attacking up until the point his Hydralisks were kind of running out of steam. Then he will pull back, regroup with more Hydralisks, and just kind of break Neeb, who I think was playing standard against a Hydra Bane style, so getting sentries and stuff that's almost like sort of useless against Hydralisks. In this case, Neeb is now going to scout the gold base, and he's going to have a lot of initiative to try and take out some drones here with the Oracles plus Adepts, or at least prevent mining here for quite some time.
There's actually just 2 Queens at that natural, so had the Adepts decided to go there first, with the Oracle, a lot of drones could have gone down.
I've seen something out of True, by the way. Sometimes he skips on Spores entirely, gets Queens to defend against Oracles in the first place, and then does an all-in. With a lot of units on the ground, maybe even like a Queen drop, something like a Nidus wouldn't be impossible either. But he's one of those guys that has been skipping on some of these Spores to try and, you know, get ahead in his own way.
Well, good call for now. This third base is never going to see the light of day. That pylon will be the first to pay its price, and then the Nexus shortly thereafter. In fact, Neeb's going to try to defend this, but if you look at that, I mean, there's just so many Lings out here. Maybe the angle's good enough. Oh, wow, the Adepts really going down there. With the Oracle, they can push this away. Behind this, more Lings, though, but a mixture of drones as well. So True with that kind of constant, I could kill you at any time if you're being too careless.
Yeah.
But he's also sneaking in some drones.
When he gets +1, like there is a lot of Links on the map right now. There is a chance True might try to really break that third base.
Yeah.
Overcharge is the big threat. Like those Adepts by themselves, they don't do enough, but there is no pylon there right now. Look at the +1 melee about to finish here. If True goes for this, gets a full surround, might find some good success here in this game.
Does. And the Oracle's going to do what it can to contribute. Is the surface area enough? That +1 doing so much damage. A lot of the Adepts are starting to go ahead and fade away. There is some reinforcements on top of that, though. And even then, 3 survive as well. So at the end of the day, it ends up being a bit of a trade. But the fact that there's a lot of Lings coming out early like that is kind of the untangible cost. Now, the gold base, of course, is going to go ahead and make up the difference. But one of the kind of true signs of this is Neeb's up to 3, True's up to 3, and they have similar workers. It's not good for Zerg.
Yeah, that didn't pay off at all here for True. I think he was really hoping to kill more Adepts, maybe even get a couple of walkers, maybe miraculously snipe the 3rd base, in which case he would have been in a great spot, but now he finds himself droning up a little bit more, but now he goes right back into units. And I mean, he's gonna face Adepts with Glaives, so you need either Banelings or Roaches to complement your Zerglings, and in this case, the Roach one is on the way with the +1 missile.
And Todd, this is, in my opinion, this is part of what makes True either a dangerous opponent or sometimes even a slightly easier when the lair finishes. And what are we doing to take advantage of that lair? It's just then a Roach Warren. So what this tells me, it's not like True is like, I'll wait until the lair finishes, then I'll make the Roach Warren. He's making choices on the fly, which is okay. That's not the worst thing in the world. But in this case, it's delaying his tech and it's putting him a little bit further behind. And when you're already on equal bases, when you already do an unfavorable trade, those kind of things against an opponent like Mr. Neeb here, who's not making those mistakes, is very, very bad. It's rough.
And True, actually, previously when he played against DNS, which was a 3-0, by the way, on this map, he made a lot of units on the ground, Link Roaches, and he went for a massive attack. So when I look at his tech right now, he's not getting anything else than Roaches and Links with just a couple of upgrades. I feel like this might be the way he wants to play it, but Neeb is just so solid that so far, he's the one being the aggressor and doing some real damage here to True.
He's even going to trade well here as well. Never mind the damage that they outright did. These Adepts are going to go down in a nice position. And with the Oracle escaping, by the way, that ability to continuously kind of be that scout and tag units is good.
Yeah.
And here we go. So it's just going to be pure Roaches. And as Todd's been talking about, without Baneling support or Hydras or something, this is a rather unflattering army composition. I'm not seeing where this develops.
But because of the way Neeb has played, he's very low on the immortal counter in particular.
Yeah.
Like, he has only
but
one
Archons,
right now.
There's 6 Templar getting warped in.
But Roaches can do fine against those. Like, it depends. Obviously, like overcharge, force fields, and all that will play a role. I think True is trying to catch Neeb off guard, which might be the best way for him to beat Neeb.
Oh, I mean, but this keeps happening, and the Roaches are out on the map. True's just thinking about attacking.
He's gonna go for it.
Gold base is shut down. He gets one Immortal exposed here. That's the beginning of something nice, but the numbers here, again, not super impressive for True just yet. If he can trap those Archons, maybe pick one off, that would be the beginning of something again. And he's gonna kind of fight over here. Now, I do like the Ravagers behind this. If he can get us around those Archons, isolate them, and drop the Corrosive Bile on it, that's how you get the win.
Yeah, Corrosive Bile is gonna be very hard for Neeb to deal with because he's backed into a corner here. He can't really pull back too much further. He has a couple of charges to work with, but that's a lot of Roaches and Ravagers.
Even a Void Ray being added to the mix, but we'll get here in time. The Mothership Core has another pylon to overcharge, which is not just doing it just yet. Immortal on the high ground doing some good damage up there. There's that Photon overcharge. And the army of True is starting to dry up a little bit. He's still not mining off that gold base, but he has began to crack the army here, and the Warp Prism is going to be absolutely essential. Neeb has to hold on. He's starting to lose some probes here as well. They're going to try to get out of there. And he's going to try to fight up to this high ground, but with the Lings getting the surround there, it's going to be close, Todd. It's going to be really, really close. The Void Ray adds a lot, and as I say that, of course, the Corrosive Bile hits on top of it.
Yeah, True is kind of swarming that base. He actually killed a lot of probes there. He's finding some damage. Even though Neeb, it looks like he might be able to defend eventually. Nice micro here on the Immortals.
The hot pickup is hot indeed. The gold base does finish behind this, and with a lot of the probes escaping, by the way, he has a 15 Harvester lead right now. The gold base has just been all but abandoned, and I feel like a lot of True's momentum is dried up. There's drones coming up behind this. He's adding the Hydra Den, so it's on to plan B.
True is fishing for mistakes right now, like not having a unit in that wall. If Link started to get in, that's what happened against DNS actually. DNS did hold some of the attacks of True, but True just found mistakes, like not having a unit in the wall, got in with Links, and then usually it's the beginning of the end when that happens.
Todd, you're, is there a spore crawler, in the main? There is not. You talked about this, Todd. He'll skip spore crawlers. Now this Overlord might be a saving grace. Okay, it's gonna be a Tefs. The Dark Shrine's finishing, so if he warps in 5, 6 DTs, that base is gonna get torn to pieces.
Drones are gonna start dying, True's gonna have to transfer, and he's already in a bad spot on the economy with 10 walkers ahead here.
All right, so these Adepts don't get anything done at all. Nice little pullback there, but keep your eye on that Warp Prism, because Protoss, we all have like the same, we share a mind space. We're like, wait a second, he didn't have detection in there. We'll have to see if Neeb's going to go for that bait.
I saw a DT being warped in. I think it's at the top right now, heading to the gold base. Yeah.
Making a long journey.
I mean, there is no sports pretty much anywhere, so that's...
Is there even
a big
overseers?
danger.
I don't even... No overseers.
Yeah.
Okay, well...
DT's are going to have some fun. It's 3 of them now. 2 at the bottom.
Have some fun indeed. So the first one is rolling up on that gold base just about now. Watch that production tab. We're going to see the panic. I'm going to say 5 overseers. Oh, just 1? You cheapskate.
2.
All right, well, okay, we'll get there.
He needs to get 1 per base, to be honest. Maybe even some spores. But yeah, those DTs, they're going to go right to work in control. Yeah. And a lot of drones are going to start falling through in a game that is already struggling. And Neeb on 4 bases going to Storm right now.
I mean, it's not a bad reaction from True, to be honest, except for, well, okay, at this 3rd base, it's pretty bad. But he responds at the gold and natural fairly well. But like Todd just pointed out, with Storm finishing behind this, they're on equal bases. 30 supply advantage for Neeb in terms of harvesters, and the DTs are still running amok. I mean, if True comes, True is in the worst place right now. He's in a very bad spot. Army composition is feeding into the wood chipper that is Neeb's as well.
And True can't see Neeb's army right now, so he might be hoping, you know, that Neeb is low on the immortal count, doesn't have Storm, and has like a really small army, which is not the case at all.
Not the case.
There is actually 5 High Templars charging up on energy right now. I mean, he's going DT hunting, which is nice. He's going to get rid of that one, but eventually it feels like whether True attacks or not, there's going to be a big fight eventually, and True's army should be getting slaughtered against what Neeb has.
Yep. And even the Hydra's getting called out of that main base because there's just nothing been there. And Neeb, when you're lucky, you're lucky. The Warp Prism just then shows up to have the idea of kind of counterattacking here. Both players nearing max out. True gets there. 155 army supply for True, and it's all mid-map. He's got to bring it back because he has nothing to make to defend against these charge locks.
Neeb's buying more time to make sure he gets maxed out on a lot of immortals and a very effective army, plus 3 attacks on the way as well. He's starting to move across the map here, using this opportunity. Again, 5 High Templars are still charging up on energy and are going to be raining down storms on this entire army here of True.
And here comes that army. Now, this army is really powerful, but do keep in mind, there's a lot of army supply out there for True. There's a 40 supply advantage in that case. So if he gets a big surround and Neeb makes a mistake here, he could take a beat.
Yeah. There is no prism with the army, which Neeb needs to be careful about. You don't want to have the prism at the bottom. Ideally, you want to reinforce straight into the fight. If True gets a perfect concave and surrounds...
Scouting Immortal. I'm going to go check it out, guys. Yep, they're right here. They're over here. Okay, we're going to have that fight. Now, there's not multiple angles coming in for True. He's just going to try to spread out as best he can. And Neeb's going to back up, try to soften this army with his Templar. As time goes on, he has room to max out as well. That's a lot of Templar. There's 4 more Templar joining into the mix here. I'm not sure if they're meant to be Archons or not. He's going to shade forward. This is a little bit of a limited scout. So he's a big, beefy Zerg army.
Archons against this army are pretty terrible. I think it's actually really good to not make them. Like a lot of Protoses, they will go on autopilot and morph them. No, keep more High Templars. Just storm this entire army. Just smash it.
Okay. Now he's going to buy some time.
Pieces.
Oh, wow, even more, 2 more Robos. Sees it's a very, Roach, Hydra-centric army. And actually, this is so nice for Neeb, too, because it's working out that the follow-up to this is going to be that Lurker Den. And Immortals are pretty good against those as well. Now, to be fair here for True, True has stabilized a little bit. His 4 bases are mining decently. I mean, the main's almost mined out, I suppose. He's got his army, he's maxed out. But when a Zerg maxes out like that, you got to go fight. Any Zealot Warping behind this, he can't defend it unless he brings some army back.
Yeah, I'm not sure what True's supposed to do here to win this. Like he would need like a perfect concave and for Neeb to storm his own army.
Yeah, it could happen.
I guess True does have a big bank.
This is
He's
nice.
able to somehow miraculously win a fight effectively and then remax very, very quick.
Yep.
But I mean, when I look at the armies, you know, like the soup rarely lies, but right now it's truly lying. The 163 army of True is supposed to get smashed against what Neeb has. But like I said, a perfect surround, a perfect engagement, and concave maybe could do it for him.
I mean, only 35 workers for True, by the way. He's completely banking on destroying Neeb's army. And there's that Warpin', and with this maxed out Zerg, that's going to be a pain in the butt to deal with. True's army is also split up, by the way. This is really weird.
He's going to counterattack. This is weird, yeah.
I mean, I get the counterattack, but split up like this. Yeah, he can recall, like you said. I mean, what about Dark Templar? Are there overseers with both armies? That's going to be an issue. Well, we entered into the weird zone. Here's True. He's going to counterattack. A little bit of a recall, leaving some units behind. And there's...
Oh, the High Templars, they're at the front and exposed. Some of those are going to get sniped. There was no overseer with these, so now True, all he sees is a blur chasing him and killing everything.
He's down to 20 workers. He's plummeting in supply. And that's kind of what I was talking about, by the way. There's no overseer with that army. He could have just warped in DTs.
True, he realized, I think, that he couldn't beat the army of Neeb, so he's doing the right thing. He's not trying to fight it. He's trying to create chaos. Now he's going to try to catch the units that are on his side of the map, snipe them by themselves, but they still pack a hell of a punch.
I mean, the army supply is now in Neeb's favor, and that's just to paint the picture of how bad this is. Over 100 supply advantage. The main base is gone. I think True is just going to try and kind of bide a little bit of time. GG's called out, and Neeb strikes first blood in the first game of this best of 5. And that was rough. True, I mean, what do you think, Todd? I mean, we look back on this game, did anything really throw him off? Did he make... I felt like it was his own game plan, it was his own execution that fell short, and then he started to kind of fall apart from there.
Skipping Spores and getting Queens, like to cut a corner, I kind of like, but in terms of making units and being aggressive with them, like I said, Neeb these days is just, his base is link-proof, any kind of rush will not succeed, so it's gonna have to be through something else for True to find success in this series, like something like, you know, a hidden Spire or some sort of tech that Neeb didn't see coming, where True gathers momentum in the mid-game and makes something happen with. But yesterday, there were a couple series actually where we said that, like, you know, if somebody was to beat their opponent, which was heavily favored, it was gonna have to be through the mid game. And then at the end of the series, I was like, actually, that might have been wrong. More like in the mid game would be better, because in the early game, it's just really, really hard to break some of these guys. And Neeb is just, there's not much. Look at his supply. Look at the supply in Montreal.
A lot of great signs out there, guys. Thank you for doing that. The game did come down to that attack at the third base, and I honestly, and it's so cool seeing the little things that kind of contribute to that. I really do believe, had Neeb not shaved off 5 or 6 adepts twice and shut down that gold base, then maybe the momentum and the reinforcements attacking that third base would have been enough, because Neeb didn't hold on by like 9 Immortals and 4 Void Rays that there was no answer for. He barely held on. So True almost getting there, and I feel like, to be honest, I would say myself, I was overly critical. The game kind of came down to that moment, and then everything after that was True like scrambling to figure something out. He got maxed out, he had a big army, but when a Zerg's sitting on 35, 40 workers and they're maxed out, they're all in again, and they're all in against a Protoss like Neeb, who has Templar, Immortals, Archons, a Mothership. Like, that's not good odds. That's a very bad all-in, and that all-in only happened because of the all-in earlier, I guess.
The first link timing didn't do enough, and because of that, the Roach Ravager timing didn't do enough. And then after that, True was just super far behind the whole time against somebody as solid as Neeb. So it's gonna have to be through something else. It's crazy actually to think that Neeb held almost, like, I wanna say with ease. He did lose probes, but the 2 timings, because the first attack with the links and the +1 melee, he didn't even have a pylon for overcharge. It was just like pure adepts and the Mothership Core shooting down those links.
And the Oracle. The Oracle helped as well. Yeah, and that's actually what part of what makes the Oracle opening so hard for a Zerg like True, who does rely on Lings to get a lot of work done. The Oracle can always just show up and shut down almost any Ling attack, unless you have like 10-to-1 favor. Well, we're just a momentary pause here. The next map's gonna be Interloper. What do you think about this one, Todd?
You know, on this map, there are like all these small avenues that can be tricky to defend for either player at times, but if you're Protoss and you play with enough vision and like you're as good as Neeb and in position with your sentries, a lot of the time you're gonna be fine. And there is even like a lot of scenarios in which you can kind of hide your tech a lot more easily in your main base as a Protoss. So we'll see how on top of his scouting True is.
It's a big main base for sure, but let's go ahead and get pumped here, guys. The WCS Titan himself in the top left-hand side, wearing the blue trunks, it is Neeb. Mind if I roll Neeb? Well, there's good signs and there are bad signs. The lower right-hand side, a champion of your people from Korea, it is True. And I think this, Todd, for me, is the pivotal game. If we're gonna have a good best of 3, True's gotta win this one. If he goes down 0-2, I mean, I know I said it a whole bunch yesterday and was consequently wrong, because there's a bunch of people that took it to game 5 after being down 0-2. I can't see that from True. It's gotta be tough.
And you know, this is a map where if you can't take your natural and it gets blocked, the next space that you can take is gonna be very far away. So True was like, you know what? You're probably gonna scout early and try and prevent that from happening. Made no overlords, stopped drones at 14, and made a hatchery on his natural at 14. So already preventing that, kind of winning the mind game, you know, so to speak, like it's not the end of the world, like Neeb's not scouting this, telling himself, oh my God, this is a disaster. But at the same time, really nice by True to anticipate this and counter it properly.
Pick up there, Todd. Slightly different opening from Neeb this time around. It's not gonna be Nexus first, it's gonna be that Gateway, then Gas, followed by Cybernex Core. It doesn't really give us a huge indication one way or the other. It's just safer against some of these kind of early pool stuff, and it has to take shape a little bit before.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I like also, and this is kind of going back to my comments in game one, Neeb's been shaking it up. That, in my opinion, is part of the development of what's happened over the last couple of years. Last year, he was a very good Protoss. This year, he's a very good Protoss who's executing best ofs on a Korean level. He's mixing it up. He's doing builds that make you think it's the meta build, and then he has a slight alteration off of that. It's really good stuff to see.
You know, after seeing all of these guys duke it out against one another all year long in the circuit, I cannot wait for the global finals and BlizzCon, where they will face the top dogs, the Koreans. And actually, you know, I mentioned how the bases are like kind of spread out on this map and far apart from one another. Glaives is one of the best tech that you can go into because of that, because if you can shade from one base to another, Hari's a bunch of links and, you know, slow Roach is supposed to really defend very well against that. So Neeb is even shown before that, you know, he can go Glaives plus Dark Shrine and really make it look super effective.
Yep. We'll have to see if that is, I think that's a really good bet there, Todd. Good call. Very tough on this map indeed. The first step's gonna kind of shade forward here and get some information. It's also something I've noticed a lot of when I watch Neeb's games, and a lot of these top Protosses too. Showtime was showing a lot of this. They are the ones pushing the pace. They're out there with adepts from like minute one. And it's not necessarily like a constant adept all in, but it's like we saw last game, hey, if you're only going Lings, well, that's gonna be a problem at your gold base. If you, you know, if I'm gonna get into your base and scout and you don't have your queens there, you're gonna lose 3 or 4 drones. Like this is a constant pressure that occurs.
True is scouting with his Overlord actually right now inside of Neeb's base. He's gonna see the Glaives being chrono boosted. Neeb should start a Dark Shrine right there.
Right under his nose?
Yeah, he should do it. That'd be a sick mind game.
And then we'll see the double fake by True where he still doesn't make any Spore Crawlers. That's not real.
He'd be capable of it too. I wouldn't put it past him.
The stressful spot for True here, though, by the way, by seeing this opening, is you can easily take those gateways and that tech and just go take your third with it. In fact, a lot of times you will attack and take a third behind that. So True's going to opt for Roaches here. A lot of Zergs would go Banelings, but True, again, kind of marches to the beat of his own drum. He's going to do something different, and, well, here we go.
I love this. This is like the old school, a build that we used to see a lot, where you go into a lot of adepts. Basically, you make 4 adepts out of your 1 gate.
Yeah.
And then when your warp gate and glaives is about to finish, you have 3 gateways up. So you warp in 3 more adepts. So that's 7 that you send forward, and you force a lot of ground reaction out of this. Behind that, I mean, the opponent's only going Lynx and Roaches and cannot start his leg tech very fast. And then you go into double Phoenix production, or nowadays, Oracles.
Yeah. That's been the recent development. I do agree with you. I love the double Phoenix.
+1 air weapons, Zarati builds. This could be Phoenixes, I think, and it's going to be very strong as well.
Zarati build, a tasteless opening, but it is going to get scouted here by True. He's going to see that pylon and probably the Stargates right afterwards. That being said, though, this is real damage. This third base didn't have any drones at it, but it's going to lose the queen immediately. And good intel by True, by the way. A lot of times, if you scout the main base with an initial Overlord, you wouldn't follow it up with another Overlord, but True's on top of it.
True sees it, but what should be his reaction? Like, it's kind of hard to tell right now, right? Like, does he get spores and, you know, take it slow? Yeah. Or does he make maybe mass units and go for an attack? Like, it's a very hard call to make, but he has to make it right now. He's still droning up a little bit, still getting more units at the same time. He was hoping those adepts would go through, because then he could have killed them.
+1 air attack actually makes Phoenix, I mean, it makes them pretty darn good against Roaches as well, by the way.
5 Overlords were just made. So True, I think he realized he was going to lose at least one of those Overlords, and he's like, I don't want to get supply blocked.
You know what,
much longer.
Neeb is actually only on 2 bases still, by the way. It's worth mentioning. So
yeah.
I like the third. I like, he's going to take a third, of course, but I like the droning from True, because True can then make the choice to be like, oh, now you're taking your third? 3 base production, Roach Ling. I've already got my drone count that I want, or close to it at least, and now I can stop you from taking a third.
I think Neeb actually was smart in doing that, because he really respected the possibility of True to just kind of make mass units and go for it, in which case it's so much better not to have the third on the way and make more units. But those Phoenixes, they are going to be absolutely insane, just like flying around, picking off whatever they can. And from somebody as good as Neeb as well, they are always going to be maximizing damage. Look, they've already killed so much.
Yeah.
Neeb has lost 0 units, like it's one of those games, right? And he's going to kill so much more.
Pulls back the wounded Phoenix because he is just that good. I would have let it blow up in the sky and been like, whatever.
What ifs?
Difference between Neeb and I, just one of the many. But the third base is going to start. Oh man,
Wrong way.
here's the thing. This point is going to sound kind of like it's mean almost, but it's actually just, it's a stylistic true thing. Neeb is like crisp and doesn't make a lot of mistakes and is very concise in his decisions. True's one of those sloppy players. A rally point's going to get you an Overlord dead or two. He's going to transfer drones and be doing something else. And that can add up, Todd, to your point. Like it's a mismatch with these kind of guys.
All right, Neeb loses his first unit. That's an adept. He's only fighting half of the army right now, picking up some of these roaches and dealing with the links. He can just cancel that shade and ransack that third base. He lets some of these go through.
Or go half and half and kill both, I guess. I mean, why not?
That works too.
Some roaches are going to come out here, so ultimately this will be stopped, but at what cost? There's so many drones dying. It's at 29. He's down to 28 workers himself and plummeting. The Phoenix count is not being depleted, by the way. Just now, one Phoenix does die. And this very well could be the beginning of the absolute end. True could tap out. Nobody would think twice of it.
Neeb has killed almost 100 units and only lost 15 here so far. Those Phoenixes still absolutely zero counter here from True against this. They're going to reign supreme over the skies and the ground.
I mean, Todd, earlier, I actually did kind of, I mean, in retrospect, it was wrong, but I liked what True was doing. He didn't actually overreact to the Phoenix at all. But to your point, he's got such a terrible economy now. He has
Maybe
nothing.
he should have.
I mean, yeah, well, there's nothing. I mean, what do you make Hydras from this point forward? You can't. Mass Queens can't do it. It doesn't work.
These are the depressed roaches that are being sent across the map.
It's over. He's got to be just like scouting what his follow-up was going to be. Is he going to fight it out? Yeah, we're going to micro those roaches.
110 units killed to 19 right now. Neeb with a masterclass here of a PvZ. And you know the replay pack for this, by the way, will go up sometime like next week.
Study it.
Yeah, download these games and watch them. GG, Neeb. A 2-0 lead here in the semifinals. Showing a masterclass PvZ.
And honestly, Todd, to pivot off of your point, that's where I would take this. I mean, True's got to show us some life in this game 3 because this feels like a guy coming into this who's like, okay, I qualified for BlizzCon. I'm facing the Juggernaut. I'll just play some StarCraft because you can't do that. Neeb in his interview was even talking about it. He's like, top 4 is nice, but I'm here to win it. And that's the guy that's already won 2. He's made close to $250,000 the last couple of years in prize winnings alone. Who knows how many cell phones Ting is flooding his apartment with right now. But this is a guy out for blood. I mean, I loved Nathanius' comments on the stage as well, or talking about how when you look at his face, he looks like a guy that's hungry for more. And I know I say this all the time, but I can't help but to be excited about BlizzCon because of that. We need somebody, because innovation, by the way, is going to destroy everyone unless somebody brave enough can get in his way and play the best StarCraft of their life.
This is just so impressive to watch Neeb, like almost like turn on, easy mode. He's like, you know what, just adepts, Phoenixes, like get out of my sight. And at this point, like this must be starting to feel depressing for True a little bit.
Yeah.
It might be time to go for the last resort, the plan.
Bust
the
out
secret
something.
plan, I don't know what it is, Penguin was just talking to him. Maybe it's like some sort of Nidus, like some sort of weird attack out there, but Neeb just has an answer for everything, it looks like.
I didn't want to be that guy, but you have something on your head over there. Kind of be aware of that. And Neeb, looking good. Has something in his hair as well. I think it's his forehead, but we'll figure that out later. And now there's True. Not smiling, not making jokes. This time reality is kind of settling in. That Neeb guy is playing pretty good StarCraft right now. Pretty darn good. So we're going to go into game number 3 here. It is Mech Depot. And can this man be stopped? Can anybody stop this guy? In the blue trunks, it's Neeb. The first one in his way on this championship Sunday. We will crown a victor. Is it going to be this guy? Well, he's going to need a miracle. In the red trunks, it's True. What do you think about this map, Todd? I love the way you broke the, oh wow, we'll get to that in a second because that's definitely something, but I liked how you broke down last game. That ended up being the case. Adepts were a big factor there, and that was the defining strategy.
Yeah, taking the third base, at first it seems difficult here on this game, but it might not even come into play here as Neeb is just at least throwing down one single cannon rush in this series, which True is, I feel, definitely not gonna scout for. And this might be a big problem.
This is the like Brood War Korean Pro cannon rush against Foreigner, where it's like, all right, the other two games I just figured out that I could probably wrap this up in about 3 minutes and just start thinking about the finals. That first cannon blocks the ramp. I mean, it doesn't block it, it covers it. So any kind of like straggling drone or lings won't get past it.
And that's the main detail here that makes this so strong as well, is that if you don't have a drone out on the map, then suddenly you're in so much trouble. True, he's gonna check. He realizes that there's a probe there. What is he supposed to do, though? I think send that drone out.
Oh, it's too late. Yeah, send the drone out. You're absolutely right.
Send the drone out and get his base elsewhere. He sends 2 out. Oh, and only one makes it.
The body block followed by that lethal dose of electricity from the probe. And he says, you know what? Go ahead and take that. I'll cannon rush it too. Why not? He's like, I've watched Haas play this whole WCS bracket. If he can do it, I will do it as well. Now, Lings can get past that, but like you send 4 and 1 gets past it.
Yeah.
If you're warping in a cannon or 2, it won't stop the cannons.
And some builds that can be good against this, you know, they involve some all-ins, but at this stage, with True not starting a lair yet, Neeb having an easy scout inside of his main base, it's just going to be so hard for him to make anything work. And remember, True's down 2 games here. This must be starting to really feel depressing here. At this point, nothing's going his way right now.
Yeah.
Evo Chamber being made. He might just elevate some links out on the map and go for a massive link attack across the map. Maybe with something like a Baning Nest, it could work.
And actually, Neeb's going to wait here a second. I actually kind of like this choice. If you overinvest in too many cannons, a lot of times that can actually be what gets that elevator Zergling attack strength.
Yeah.
And that is actually, you're exactly right, Todd. That will be what it is.
Without a Baning Nest, though, I guess he's going to double elevate outside of his main base and then into Neeb's base.
Yeah. Now, does Neeb have anything at home? He's got the... Is the Cybernex core finished? Because if that, yeah, Mothership core on the way, so he's already got some answers here, and he can fully wall this in if he wants. But that's a dead hatch, by the way. 2 cannons should be able more than enough to finish that off, even with these lings.
This is it, guys. This is either gonna work or this is gonna be it here for True. He's gonna put all of his links here in those overlords, send them across the map. Speed's about to finish. +1 started, but it's not gonna be on time here.
Another
for it to
cannon.
be really
Where's
relevant.
that? Where's that cannon? Is that the main mineral line? Oh, okay, it's the natural, which is walled off now.
Oh, and Neeb's getting ready to scout in the main base above the overlord, I think. True chooses to bust.
Yep.
Okay, so he's gonna save the hatchery.
But he loses so many lings for it, right?
Yeah, and True's economy is in shambles.
And he can't transfer drones to this, too, so it's like...
I mean, he can bust the natural now, right? With enough links, but 17 walkers to 26?
But that's even more lings just to, you know, to what? I think you're right, Todd. This is your early estimate, but by the time he starts to elevate lings into the base...
And Neeb knows. It's gonna be pylons going down there. It's still, remember, the overlord is gonna be really slow here. It's not gonna be fast. The mothership, though,
it's a Dunkirk overlord.
Wasn't that close, but I think he's gonna get there early enough to kind of start helping on time. That cannon on the natural makes it so safe. Okay, actually, this gets cancelled. This is not bad here by True. Let's see if he can make this work.
Think so?
I mean, like that he actually managed to get into the main base. I thought that was
no cannon in the mains. This is the damage he'll do. That's gonna be it. The cannon is that's a pylon actually. Well, basically a cannon.
That overlord struggling to elevate all of
I'll
those
get
things.
you up there, boys.
Get in here.
Our whole life depends on this.
It's not good. Yeah, there's 2 adepts up there now.
There's almost 2 overcharges as well. Like this keeps getting worse. It feels like True needs to go now. This is what I would have liked a Baning Nest. Imagine a Baning Nest. He could have busted down the wall at the natural and killed him. I don't think True should have tried to.
Look how patient he is with an overcharge. I would have jammed that key so hard it'd make your head spin. Holy cow. Just waiting. By the way,
Double overcharge.
Todd, something happened here too. +1 melee was canceled. +1 range attack was opted for.
He's gonna go for a Queen drop, I guess.
Yeah.
Pneumatized Carapace.
But look at what he's coming into. I mean, Adept or Glaives might be finished by then.
It's the last resort. The True special.
Lings.
Lings and Queens. And he's gonna sell this as well. He's busting this position, which tells Neeb True might wanna just expand there.
I don't know. You see that many lings,
drones.
Todd? You see that many lings and you think expand?
Yeah, because he's defending that position. He's not attacking, right?
Neeb's too smart for that, Todd. He's smarter than both of us combined, so whatever ideas we have, he's already thought of it in the future. Slowlord will get chased. 2 lings are gonna make it out to tell their butts about the tail. He does see decent saturation at the natural, so that should be some indicator to your point. I think that strengthens your argument that he's like, maybe he is expanding.
Yeah, but maybe
the Oracle's going to always tell him.
Maybe he is expanding, actually. I thought that True was going to go for some sort of Queen drop because he started +1 missile, but I guess he was kind of planning for the future.
Yep. This base will get canceled, at least for now. It has to. Go after the Nexus, man.
Overcharge?
Oh my gosh. If he just would have clicked on the Nexus, he at least would have canceled it, but now he's going to get nothing.
Why does this never happen in my games?
I know, right? Yep, so nothing. I mean, trades all these lings, which are absolutely huge for him in terms of investment for a couple of Adepts.
Yeah.
And the bad gets
+1
worse.
melee, by the way, was not cancelled. He completed.
Oh, really?
That's why, I was like, these things are doing pretty well against these Adepts.
That was a really fast +1 melee then.
So I guess maybe he needed to queue something after, and between Carapace and +1 missile,
Yeah.
True knows that he's going to go into ranged units eventually.
Oh, that's interesting. Would have thought maybe Carapace. I don't know. Range attack's cool too here. That 2 finishes, by the way.
True is beginning supply block quite a bit. His supply block right now, he started 4 overlords, kind of being like, all right, that's it, done. I don't want to be supply blocked anymore.
He's in panic mode. He's an improvisational player, so like right now, he's trying to solve the riddle of being this far behind Neeb, and what is he going to do to get back?
Yeah.
So,
good luck with that riddle.
Overlord speed here. I mean, maybe Todd, you were right. There is something to it. 2 more queens queued up, so it's probably going to be a bit of everything. Or no, actually, it's just going to be queens and lings.
Okay,
right.
so I call it right, but just a much delayed version from what I thought.
10-minute version, I guess.
Which is, I mean, it's weird, right? You don't really like see this very often. Actually, only in True's game will you ever see this, I think.
The funny thing is, he's so far behind, there's actually a very real chance that Neeb will attack into an attack. And maybe not outright win. Oh, that's just okay.
Don't put me down, whatever you do.
No, not down there.
Pick me right back up.
Get another Phoenix.
Oh!
It doesn't matter.
Meanwhile, on the other side,
no, it's like
the links are still waiting out on the map.
Oh my gosh. All right, one of the queens dies. But Overcharge can deflect that attack. I do believe, I mean, True's going to clean this up, but he's going to do so again with the losses are just so bad for him. He's trying to gear up for an attack. So he's going to have a good queen count. Those did not die. Oh.
If the circumstances would have been different, this might have played right into True's hand, because then he would have defended and counter-attacked. But right now, it's still Neeb running the show, killing drones left and right here with the Oracles. The counter-attack just not doing enough just yet. Force fields landing. Actually, he's kind of running out of overcharges, but I mean, Neeb, he should have enough units, especially he made a crazy amount of gateways just now for reinforcements.
Well, that's a lot of lings. If it was ever going to happen, it's going to be right now. As Todd said, Footstool Overcharge is almost out, if not out all right. There's the final one. Does go down. It's going to try to buy time.
Queens are heading across the map right now inside of one of those overlords. Let's see if these can be the game changer here against those air units. Kind of push those back while the links do the job on the ground.
All right. Gateway's about to finish. They're going to go ahead and change up right there. Some sentries being called in here to get those force fields down and try and block some space. They eat up that mineral line. There's the big massive warp, and Queen's going to get dropped in on top of this. A lot of Adepts are safe from the lings, and the ling count is dried up here quite a bit. An Immortal steps out and is going to bring the boomstick. Couple of Queens are all that is left. They're just not aided that much, but on the minimap you can see some reinforcements coming, but the supply heavily in favor of Neeb. He wants those finals. He wants a 3rd championship, and he will not be denied. Not at this 3rd base anyways. True is going to continue to kind of show up. He's got 18 lings and 2 queens taking an aerial view of their own demise. They're like, over here, Overlord, we shall not drop there. They're not going to drop there. That would be death.
I mean, True he committed everything to this. He's got too few walkers here to stay in this. I think he's going to be one last final attempt with a lot of links, hoping that Neeb...
I mean, look at the Adepts.
Completely messes up, but Neeb, with a masterful defense, once again realizing that he had way more walkers, that he could actually pull those off, and even if they died, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
It's another situation where, like, Neeb has no idea how all in True is, I guess, so he's making a warp prism. I mean, this is going to be it. True taps out 3-0 in favor of the Titan of WCS, Mr. Neeb here in the blue, crushing through. Todd, that was it was a fun series, pretty much only from the perspective of what you said, a master class of Protoss. If you are a Protoss out there or needing some inspiration for top tier play, watch that man right there.
If you're a Zerg, well, I guess you'll have to wait for the finals for entertainment.
Yeah, hopefully, right? Someone's got to put up some fight here. Well done, but I do believe we're going to have some words with that gentleman on the stage with Mal any second now. Any second now, they'll be ready.
And now, thanks a lot, Jeff. Congratulations on the victory. You said in the interview, you were in a bit of a slump before coming into this event, and True was actually telling me that you 2-0'd him while in your slump, and you said you're feeling better now, and obviously, an obvious result, I would say.
Not exactly. Like, I think he played better the rest of the tournament. I don't know what happened in these games. I think they were just kind of weird. And like, I play a weird style too, so maybe I threw him off a little bit.
You do play weird, but it's rock solid. You know, a player that reminds me that your play style is actually Zest. Zest is known, I don't know if you know about his nicknames, but he's known as the arcade muscles because he's got the muscle, and he does arcaded games within his play styles. And I don't know how much you like Zest, but you gotta be the American Zest, the arcade muscle.
I think Showtime's the European Zest, at least, because, you know, they look the same. Yeah. But yeah, I watch Zest stream a lot because he's been streaming recently, and I'm always very inspired by his play. Like, he's very smart.
And now finally, welcome back to another finals of 2017 WCS.
Yeah, I've been pretty used to this, so I don't know.
Well, thank you for the interview. Congratulations in your advancement. Best of luck.
2 words, truly outclassed, unfortunately, there for our Korean representative as Neeb marches on 3-0. And that second game in that series, I can't think of a more one-sided game that I've watched in this tournament so far. That was extremely impressive by Neeb Zombie Group.
That was. We kind of called it, but True was supposed to throw in like a little bit of a wrench somewhere and was just unable to. In fact, it was Neeb.
There were no wrenches to be found.
Neeb found the wrenches and threw it at True.
Yeah, that was scary stuff. You were watching that in the back, Nathaniel.
Just hearing the first words that you said, I'm like, yeah, well, unfortunately, our Korean representative couldn't put up a fight. I'm like, that's right, boys. It's 2017.
We've got there.
We have a guy that can take down the Koreans. We have the secret weapon, our new Captain America. He's been rebuilt, better, stronger, harder, faster. And that series was a curb stomping, if ever there was one in StarCraft 2. Really great play. He busted out. Neeb went for a variety of his own, which is also awesome to see. The double Stargate play, I'm like sitting there, I'm like, yeah, okay. He definitely watches Roddy like to play as well.
Yeah.
And then Cannon Rush. He gave us a little bit of everything.
It feels like everything was so crisp from Neeb as well. Even if you think about game number 1, how that was going down, it was going to be very hard for True to ever win that fight towards the end anyway.
Yeah.
But the Zealots came in and killed off the Lurker Den as it was morphing in, but for the last second. So even if he had any semblance of any recovery with Lurkers, Neeb was like, nah, just deny that as well. So very impressive execution by Neeb overall.
Yeah, actually, and I think everyone, I love the cheering for the Phoenix picking up that Zealot.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, crisp play overall,
No
sure,
man
but
left
really
behind.
cool micro, yes. And he had everything. He had macro, micro, strategy.
Neeb is a literal god, and that is all that needs to be said about that. It's awesome to see him make it to another final.
Yep.
I'm glad. If you're an American StarCraft fan, you've had someone to cheer for a year and a half now, and it's awesome. I'm really impressed by his play. I can't wait to see him go. And hopefully get a 3rd victory in WCS Circuit this year.
Maybe. Let's check in with the brackets, see how things have shaped up so far here in Montreal as we have Neeb marching through to the grand final once again. He's looking for a 3rd title here in 2017. Who would believe it? And then down towards the bottom, we have our 2 grand finalists from WCS Valencia battling for their 2nd consecutive grand final as well. So the system's worked out pretty well. The finalists from previous events who were really good at this game suddenly keep getting back to the finals or potential finals. It's impressive to see.
The format was like, oh yeah, the champion of each event is going to make it to BlizzCon. But then it was like, actually, the players are too good.
Yes.
The same guys keep making it to the finals. So it mostly just ended up being about your points anyway from everybody else that couldn't quite get up there. And also, to say that interview, I'd like to see Neeb go for that. Go for he can be the American Zest. I would love to see a jacked version of Neeb. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be terrifying. He's too good at everything else. Don't have him jacked as well.
I'm just trying to imagine like a super ripped Neeb, just spends the rest before BlizzCon, he just goes to the gym. He's just pumping iron in between his ladder sessions for the next 2 months.
That'd be amazing. Of course, don't forget that StarCraft 2 is on sale currently as well. You can get it between now and the 18th of September for cheaper, so you can get involved in the campaign if you haven't already, as well as the ever so delightful multiplayer that always continues and ensues throughout the time.
Play some ladder games, destroy some nerds, play some co-op.
Yeah.
Play co-op. I love co-op.
Co-op's awesome, yeah.
Co-op.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Zombie Grub, you're going to be casting a laser going up against Snute next. Excited for that one?
Yeah, actually. They played all 7 games in their finals in Valencia, so this should be a really nice rematch. I also think that Snute really wants to get that revenge, especially based off that last game that they played at Valencia.
Yeah.
This should be another ace match series where I don't know who I want. I think Kelazhur getting the double crown to match Neebs would be pretty cool, but also Snute, just like fan favorite, nice guy. He also got so close. Either one would be great.
Yeah, we're blessed in the situation. Whoever gets through to the finals here, we have either Snute getting his retribution for a second place, potentially going through to the finals to challenge it again, Kelazhur 2 times, or Neeb 3 times. It's really good.
And I would say that it's a huge, important match for Snute, just also for his legacy. This year has, like, you want to get that big championship. We know that Snute is a championship caliber player, but he kind of falls into that same space that like Showtime did, although of course his performance overall has been better than Showtime's, where he's the championship caliber player that hasn't been hitting the finals and getting those championships. So you're like, where's he been? This is his chance now. Once again, I think we had this conversation at the last circuit event, whereas this is his opportunity to be like, yes,
it was.
I deserve to be a fan favorite because I still make it to finals and win big.
Yeah. So that does it. Can Snute, of course, one of the old dogs, one of the best foreigners of all time, keep up with the youngsters here at WCS Montreal? We're going to go to a short break, but when we return, Kelazhur goes up against Snute to find out who moves on to the finals.